friends, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Mika. Thank you so much for stopping in. So today I just want to talk about setting the example for your children. You're the role model, the first role model that they're going to follow. So whatever you instill in them at a young age, it gets embedded into their memory. So how you're carrying yourself, the things that you do, the relationships that you're in, the friendships that you are involved in, the way you keep your home, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you talk, the way that you think, all that is going into account to this little person. Just think about it this way. Even though that person is their own individual self, they are still you. There's a lot of things that I watch my daughter do and I'm like, she's definitely copying me. That's me. For example, and it's not always good traits. They copy you. They copy you. So it's very important that you are being mindful of the atmosphere you're setting around your children, because they're watching you, and eventually when they get big and bold enough to do what they want to do, they're going to start to mimic you. And it could be good traits and bad traits. And some things they could just try to move a little faster than what they're supposed to. So if you're constantly having different boyfriends and girlfriends and constantly bringing people in and out the home, you know, watching inappropriate things around where your kids can hear, or you're listening to inappropriate music where your kids are listening, if you're not instilling core principles into your children, if you believe in God, if you're not instilling God into their lives, if you're not teaching them about the word, if you're not, you know, helping them to do things, to meditate or to be healthy and be kind and, you know, just present themselves in a positive way, they're not going to be that. You can't say you have all these dreams for your children to be this amazing person, this amazing adult one day, but you haven't done nothing but stuck them in front of a TV to watch cartoons or TV shows that half the time you don't even know what they're watching, or YouTube things, you don't know what they're watching, TikTok and all that stuff, and they're picking up on that. And then you're not spending time with them, and then you wonder why when they hit preteen or teenage years, they don't want to spend time with you, because you didn't want to spend time with them. So they're just copying you. Now that they're a little bit older and they realize it for what it was. You didn't want to spend time with them, so they don't want to spend time with you. Or they're trying to dress provocative, but then you're telling them, no, I don't want you dressing like this. Yet they look at you or they look at your friends and they're dressed with clothes that are small and are revealing or, you know, provocative. And then they want to dress like that. You wondering why? Because that's what you are putting around them. If your kids are cursing at a young age, they're in elementary school and they're cursing, but yet when they're at home, you're cursing or you're arguing with your partner, cursing and acting a fool, they're picking up that from you. They are you. They're learning from you. You are their teachers. You know, one thing that I've noticed is, you know, no matter how much you want it to be your life, you know, so especially when you believe in God and all that stuff, it gets kind of frustrating when you're like, oh yeah, your life is not your own, it's God's life and all that stuff. And sometimes it's like, I just want to live my life. But especially when you have kids, your life is definitely not your life anymore, because now you're living for your kids. Your prime focus should be to raise those children to be good people, good human beings. Raise them in a way that you want them to grow up and be. Raise them in a way that you will be proud of them as adults being, as seeing them when they're parents. Raise them in those ways. You're not going to be perfect, because there's no rule books of parenting, so I'm not bashing anybody, and that's not what we do on this channel. Like I said, I've fallen short a lot of times. As parents, you're going to fall short. You're going to do things that you're going to be like, man, I wish I never taught them that. Like, I used to have a really bad insecurity about my skin tone, because, you know, for so long, if you're darker than a brown paper bag, the stuff back from slavery and all that crap, you know, you're not considered pretty, and if you're this tall, you're not feminine. I'm 5'11", and you know, I always had those little insecurities about skin tone, my hair texture, my height, And my daughter's just like me. She's brown skin, she has my hair, and she's tall. She's like 5'9" and in the 10th grade. So, you know, I noticed that, you know, you don't even notice you can push up your insecurities onto your kids because you're thinking, oh, I do such a good job of hiding it. But they're watching you. Even your nonverbal communication, they're watching you. And I've caught her several times, you know, making those same complaints, those, you know, complaining about the same things. And I know where it's coming from. Because she hasn't been teased about her skin tone. She hasn't been teased about her hair. Nobody cares about how tall she is. That was things I went through when I was growing up in middle school and high school, being bullied for that kind of stuff. They don't care about that now. Now it's beautiful, you know, and so I know it's coming from me. And I don't express that to her. I don't say, oh yeah, I'm just so insecure about this and this and this. But those conversations that I'm having with friends, those posts that I'm putting up, maybe those sly little comments that I may say to myself when I look in the mirror sometimes, like, or I remember when I did not like this, or I don't know why I love it now. Those little things, she's picking up on it. Kids are like sponges, and they're always picking up on all your communication, any type of way. They're picking up on the way you respond to things. You know, you at the school all the time because your kid is constantly in fights or having anger problems or disrespecting teachers, yet you don't know how to talk to folks. Your kids are seeing you, watching you on the phone, cursing out people, fighting people, threatening people, all that. But then you wonder why your kid is acting out. Or you know, you're being overly sensitive. You're always crying about something. You're always complaining about something. Woe is you. The weight of the world is on your shoulders all the time. You don't have no answers to how to get better in certain situations. You just rather just sit in your sorrow and in your frustrations and in your pains and in your insecurities, and then you wonder why your kids do that. We have to be so intentional on raising these babies. You know, not saying you fake it, not saying you always gotta be 100% because that's not realistic, but be really, like, try your best to make sure that you're creating an atmosphere for your children and that you are watching the things that they're watching on TV, the music that they're listening to, because that stuff, you could be a great person. You could be a Christian person if that's what you think is the greatest. You know, you could be a super sweetheart or a super nice guy or whatever, but your kids can be like little Tasmanian devils out here. But it may not be anything that you're doing. You're probably like, I don't fight. I don't argue with my spouse. We have a 2-parent home. You know, they eat all the time. We talk all the time. Everything's good. And that may be true. But if you're still not paying attention to them and seeing what other stuff is being brought into the home, that's another problem. You know, like I said about that TikTok stuff. Little kids are picking up on curse words and stuff, and their parents aren't teaching them that. Their parents don't even curse, but they're watching the TikTok stuff. It's our job. Being a parent, first of all, is the most hardest job you ever have to do when it comes to loving someone outside of yourself. Yeah, you may find it hard to love your spouse and stuff, but I guarantee you, it's the most hardest job you're going to have when it comes to loving someone outside of yourself. It's going to be those kids, because you're going to want to train them up the way that you want them to be. You're going to want so much for them, but at the same time, you still may be stuck in your ways and want to live your life your way, and it's not good and it's not healthy, and it's bleeding onto your kids, and they're picking up on that, and then you got to worry about them going to school. They're picking up on more stuff, and then you got to worry about what's going on TV and what society's trying to teach them, and it's hard. It is. So like I said, I understand, but we just have to try. Just try a little harder, you know. And what made me talk about this video, honestly, is just because one of my neighbors, she was outside, like, and I'm not trying to judge her, God knows I'm not, but she had on this super mini dress. Like, it was like cupping underneath her butt, like really, really short. And it was like a halter dress or something. I don't know. Like, yeah. Like, it didn't have any sleeve. It just was cut off right here. And it was super tight. No lie. And she was on the phone. She had a little girl. Her little girl, like she was maybe like 3 or 4. She was holding her hand. Pretty little girl. She was holding her hand. She was on the phone. She was cursing like, I'll beat this beep 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 beep. And I wish I had a weapon. Think about it. That kind of weapon. And I'll do this and I'll do that. I'll like tell that N to be over here and his B and da 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 da. And she's screaming and yelling. I don't know who she's talking to. I see it was her friend or somebody. She was screaming and yelling outside, you know, and this little girl just standing there, you know, with her candy, watching, looking up at her mama, staring at her mama while her mama's going off and cursing, and, you know, she's half dressed. So that, like, everything, it all matters. I know you may be saying, well, what's that got to do with it? It matters because that little girl is getting instilled in her brain. She's looking at her mama outside, on the phone, loud cursing, going off, threatening people's lives, doing all kinds of things. On top of that, she's half dressed. She's not even paying attention to her. She is holding her mama's hand, but the whole time she was outside, while she was walking with the little girl, she was on the phone screaming and yelling on the phone about Lord only knows what. And basically that little girl did not need to know what's going on personally in her personal life because she was talking about a man. I guess he was cheating and she was upset about it. And that little girl, she's always going to remember that. Especially if she's like 4, or maybe she could have been a little older. You know, I'm not really that great at guessing ages. But we'll say 3 to 5. We'll say that age range. And she's always going to remember that. Innocent to her right now because she's not going to say anything. But once she gets into middle school and high school, and she's going to think it's okay to talk to people like that. She's going to think that that's love. Because I'll guarantee that woman probably went back to that man. I guarantee it. And she's going to think it's okay to dress like that out the house. You know, like, we just really have to think about it. And like I said, no judgment. Because when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, 20 to about 25, your girl had the high heels and the mini dresses, and you couldn't tell her nothing. If it wasn't tight, it wasn't right. Thought that was, you know, sexy and all that. And I deal with it now. My daughter, like, talks about, oh, this is my style. Like, she knows I won't let her dress that way, but she'll show me, like, her style on different, like, she'll show me pictures and stuff on stuff she likes, and it's, like, revealing clothes, super stiletto heels. She can't wait till she's a little adult so she can dress like this and stuff like that. And it's like, I can't even get mad at her. All I can do is just let her know, like, you're so much better than that. And that's not the attention that you want. Because I thought that was the attention I thought that's the way you get a guy. But that's not the attention you want. People find the most beautiful the more that they have to use their imagination. You ain't got to be out here looking like you covered from head to toe and all that. But clothes that's fitted to you nicely is way more attractive than if you're trying to show it all and leaving nothing to the imagination. But like I was saying, my point is, I deal with it now. I deal with the insecurities that I passed on to her that I didn't even know I passed on to her. I deal with her anxiety and worries about relationships because she's seen me arguing and handling relationships inappropriately. She's seen that. And I wasn't even trying to let her see that. I'm thinking we shutting doors and stuff, thinking she's sleeping. We arguing about personal things that we're going through in our relationship. And she's thinking like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to like you used to do. You know what I'm saying? So you just be mindful when you have kids, or even if you just live in a home where there are kids. Just be mindful that they're always watching. They're always absorbing things, and they're always putting 2 to 2 together, and this is how they think that it's supposed to be. They can't wait to start drinking. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend, she used to say when she was younger, because her mom used to drink and stuff, she used to say when she was younger, she couldn't wait to grow up so she can drink too. You know, like that kind of stuff. And I bet you her mama never even knew that she felt that way. And her mom was not an alcoholic or nothing. It's just that she seen her mama drinking. She would go out with her friends and have fun, and she thought that was fun. So we just really have to be cautious, guys. Ladies, we just gotta be careful. You don't have to be perfect, and I ain't trying to make it like you doing anything wrong, but just be mindful. it's not much we can hide from our kids. Even though we feel like we're doing a good job hiding stuff, we're usually not. But you let me know what you think in the comment box below. We'll keep the conversation going. And always remember to be polite, courteous, and truthful and honest, so that people know we're all human beings out here trying to live this thing called life. We can all help each other out, and nobody's better than anybody. We're all in this together. We all have struggles. We all fall short somewhere, and we're not alone. So keep the conversation going, and we will talk next time. Bye.